ABC 13 Eyewitness News at 6:30 starts now.
Happening right now in the news at 6:30 tonight, a Baytown officer facing charges in the shooting death of a local woman. We first told you about Pamela Turner's death back in May of last year.
Yes, we'll talk about that, but first we're also watching what's happening in the Gulf as Hurricane Sally takes aim east of Louisiana. Let's get over to Chief Meteorologist Travis Herzog to find out the timing of this storm. Travis?
Alona, we saw a significant shift eastward in both the storm and its projected path earlier today. The center of Sally reformed off to the east as it became a hurricane, and that has pushed everything east of New Orleans and most of Louisiana now in terms of where that center may go. So things are looking a little bit better from the Big Easy and the rest of Louisiana, but it has caused the hurricane warnings to shift eastward all the way now into Pensacola in the Florida Panhandle. You can see the circulation on radar about 100 miles offshore, and it won't be until tomorrow night this makes landfall. It is just crawling along here to the west-northwest at about 6 miles per hour. Current sustained winds estimated to be at 100 miles per hour. That puts it at Category 2 intensity. There are still hurricane warnings in effect for New Orleans, but again, the trend here has been off to the east, and the Hurricane Center says they might be making some more eastward adjustments to the center path of Sally in terms of where it eventually goes. Storm surge warnings continue all the way now into Pensacola as well. It's expected to make landfall probably tomorrow night, verging on Category 3 intensity, and it'll be a significant rainmaker along the I-10 corridor east of New Orleans into the Florida Panhandle. There's also another disturbance in the southwest Gulf we're watching that could bring some soaking storms back to Texas later this week. I'll have more on that in a full tropical update and your full forecast.
Travis, thank you. And right now we are on streaming devices like Fire and Roku. While you're there, you can check out our weather vault. You can look back at other big storms that hit the Gulf Coast, including Hurricanes Katrina, Ike, and Harvey.
The other big story we're following here tonight, a Harris County grand jury has indicted a Baytown police officer who shot and killed a woman who was in emotional distress in May of last year. The Harris County District Attorney's Office saying Officer Juan Dela Cruz faces a felony charge of aggravated assault by a public servant in connection to Pamela Turner's killing. Now, if he is convicted, Dela Cruz faces 5 years to life in prison. Coming up on Eyewitness News tonight at 10, we'll hear from others who knew Pamela and her history with Dela Cruz.
Turning now to COVID-19. This afternoon, the mayor announcing 329 new cases. You can see cases reported dropped since Friday. Total cases in the city of Houston now more than 69,000. The big headline here, though, the city's positivity rate has hit 6.1%, just shy of that 5% city officials are trying to reach. Now, during the 2 weeks since many school districts started reopening campuses, members of the Texas State Teachers Association have reported hundreds of violations of COVID-19 safety guidelines. On an online survey, 664 members from 135 districts around the state reported a variety of what they saw as deficiencies. 246 complaints were submitted for non-compliance with a mask mandate. 357 members reported inadequate protective supplies, or PPE. The most complaints, however, 435, were about schools not doing enough for high-risk employees or family members.
Well, getting life back to normal means getting a vaccine for COVID-19, of course, but what's a realistic timeline for this? Is it safe? And what information do researchers actually get from a vaccine trial? Now, as a part of Action 13, reporter Marla Carter has been digging for us into all of that. She now joining us live here in the studio. And of course, we all want this vaccine, but so much to break down here, Marla.
Absolutely. In fact, that's exactly why, Chauncey, we are devoting an entire week to this. In fact, all week long, we'll be taking a deep dive into the COVID-19 vaccine. We'll explore what a vaccine trial is, what role Houstonians are playing in an effort to get a vaccine, and show you how it could be distributed once we get it right here in Houston. Now, the rush is on to get a COVID-19 vaccine. A number of vaccine trials are underway, and there's been talk about a vaccine being released in less than 2 months. Is that realistic? It comes as one major drug manufacturer had to halt its trial when a participant developed a rare inflammatory condition, leading some to wonder if speed is trumping safety.
We've got to regain the trust of the community about when we say something is safe and effective, they can be confident that it is safe and effective.
And getting something safely and effectively is everyone's goal. We'll give you a realistic timeline on when we could see a vaccine. We'll have the latest on where things stand, and we'll also hear from someone who rolled up her sleeve to help. Join us for Vaccine 101 tonight at 10. Marla Carter, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Great information, Marla. We will see you then. Meantime, health officials in the Corpus area are reporting their first patient with both COVID-19 and the flu at the same time. That person did have to be hospitalized. Now, doctors are warning this is the time to get your flu shot. We spoke with an infectious disease pediatrician at UT Physicians, UT Health. He said it takes a couple of weeks for immunity to kick in after you get a vaccine. And with COVID numbers still growing, it's more important than ever to protect yourself from this year's seasonal flu.
And you can imagine that if COVID infects your lungs and flu infects your lungs, and COVID can spread to other parts of your body and affect other organs, just like the flu can, that if you had both at the same time, I think there's a chance that you're going to have a really severe disease.
Dr. Chang says that the flu season can start as early as November, and that vaccine gives you immunity for 6 to 9 months, so it is not too early to get your flu shot.
The Houston Fire Department will soon say their final farewells to Captain Tommy Searcy. Searcy died last Tuesday after a weeks-long battle with COVID-19. His visitation will be on tomorrow night, with his memorial service scheduled the following morning. Both will be held there at Chapman Forest Baptist Church. A march will also be held before the memorial service. That starts at 10 a.m.
Now to the raging wildfires across the West Coast, from California all the way up to Washington State. Nearly 5 million acres destroyed. Tens of thousands of people have been forced to flee their homes, with many returning to just find charred rubble. That death toll has grown to at least 35. And of course, all this happening in the middle of a pandemic.
And that's why the CDC is now warning people near those raging wildfires that cloth masks do not protect against wildfire smoke. The experts also want to make clear, though, wearing your mask does still help stop the spread of COVID-19 and other airborne illnesses. It's simply a barrier to keep respiratory droplets from traveling into the air and onto you. I just spoke to autoimmune disease specialist Dr. Brooke Goldner about what masks do and don't protect us from.
The reason that we wear masks is for droplet and splash protection. Somebody sneezes, somebody coughs, there's droplets in the air that have viral particles in them. If you're wearing a mask, a cloth mask, a surgical mask that you can get online now, if you're wearing one of those, then you're going to be protected from those droplets actually going into your lungs.
Dr. Goldner added the mask mandate may actually help us this flu season because, once again, wearing that mask protects you from more than just COVID, but also takes down the likability of you catching the flu or even a common cold.
I say, please help me put that fire. I don't want to burn my mama's house up.
A family of 5 rebuilding after a fire rips through their home, leaving them without a place to live. How they're now trying to rebuild, coming up next.
And people are continuing to struggle to pay rent tonight. Action 13 is doing what we can to help out. We have more answers on rental assistance coming up after the break.
ABC 13 Eyewitness News continues with Chauncey Glover and Ilona Carson.
Welcome back. Legislation to honor fallen Harris County Sheriff's Deputy Sandeep Dhaliwal unanimously passed the U.S. House today. The bill renaming the post office on Addicks Howell Road to the Deputy Sandeep Singh Dhaliwal Post Office. Congresswoman Lizzie Fletcher introduced the bill, which was co-sponsored by the entire Texas House delegation. This honor comes nearly 2 weeks before the 1-year anniversary of Dhaliwal's death. Deputy Dhaliwal was killed in the line of duty during a traffic stop.
New at 6:30, a family of 5, including an 89-year-old grandmother, now homeless after a fire ripped apart their Northeast Houston home.
Now the family is now living inside of their cars in their driveway. The homeowner saying it all happened just in a blink of an eye.
We've been here about 45 years. Children graduate from Smiley High School. I can't do that much. I can't walk that far. I am 83 years old. My full name is Catherine Jackson. We went to the store and came back. This whole area was just black. But we didn't stay up late because we couldn't watch TV. We couldn't do nothing. And then my daughter Diane, she came in a little later. She let her count in her room. I'm thinking she must have tilted that count.
The smoke started getting so thick. I say, please help me put that fire. I don't want to burn my mama's house up.
You know, accident happened, so I couldn't really scream and holler because they weren't gonna do no good. I'm glad we got out because they could have found 6 bodies in there than just the burned down building like it is.
My neighbors, especially Miss Jackson, is a very beautiful and loving woman. She does everything for you. My name is Linda Offord. I'm the neighbor to Miss Jackson. Miss Jackson she needs somebody that is God-fearing, that is willing to take that step and say, we're gonna help this lady. She can definitely need an angel to come in and help her put this back together, you know, one step at a time, but at least to get her back on the inside.
Certainly glad they made it out safely. Meanwhile, hundreds of Houstonians struggling to make ends meet are met with a huge roadblock, many unable to sign up for the program set up to help them. ABC 13 reporter Nick Notario joining us live tonight with how that is changing. Nick?
Yeah, that'll be changed by the end of this week, as that's what we're being told by labor leaders. However, if your landlord is participating, the good news is you can still apply. But as we discovered in new numbers that we received today, time might be running out. Right now, Houston and Harris County neighbors looking for rental assistance can apply for around $2,000, an amount Narada Lewis would love to receive.
I would get the much needed assistance that I've been waiting for, be able to take care of some bills and things like that.
Lewis isn't the only one. Baker Ripley is running the $60 million rental assistance program. Here are new numbers the agency gave ABC 13 today. 13,000 landlords have enrolled. More than 37,000 tenants have applied, requesting $52.6 million. In Harris County, 16,000 are selected for final verification, and about 7,500 in the city.
Our hope, of course, is that landlords who have participated in the program certainly will not be evicting.
Mayor Sylvester Turner says the city has talked to Justice of Peace and constables about the program. This way, before they evict, they can let people know to apply. A notice Lewis fears will arrive if help doesn't come soon.
It's very stressful. It's sometimes depressing, but you know, I gotta kind of keep my head up some kind of way and know that there's gonna be a change.
There is a change coming for those whose landlords won't participate either. Leaders say a new portal will be running by the end of the week. This should offer even more assistance for renters looking for help. Nick Notario, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Now, if you still need help, you can go to the ABC13.com website to find Rent Relief 101. Now, this shows you how to find information on the City of Houston's Rent Relief Program, what you need to know about evictions, and other compilation of other resources for renters suffering through the COVID-19 pandemic.
Afternoon traffic now with Elisa Rivas.
A traffic alert for north side drivers. This is southbound at Ritchie. 2 lanes blocked with an accident here. You can see traffic slow going on the southbound side, backed up all the way to Louetta. So be aware of that. For those of you that use the red line, the Metro Rail, there was a service interruption that was over the weekend but will now last through Friday evening. This is going to be between Fannin South and the Dredden, Texas Medical Center stop. It is single track service through Friday night. So you know what that means. Everything a little bit slower. Trains running at 18-minute frequencies. So just be aware if you're using the rail, everything is coming off of the southbound track, but it will be slower for you through the end of the night on Friday.
Okay, all eyes on the Gulf as Hurricane Sally is expected to make landfall tomorrow as a Category 2 hurricane. We're going to take you right now live to Pensacola, Florida. This is the scene there as those waves are sweeping in. Mississippi's governor has already signed a state of emergency ahead of the storm.
Our job, as it always is in these storms, is to prepare for the worst case scenario, to pray for the best case scenario, and expect somewhere in between.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing. Residents there are already preparing, securing boats, loading sandbags, boarding up windows. Not a whole lot of time left. However, the bad news for those parts of Florida and the northeast Gulf Coast are good news for our friends in Louisiana.
All right, Travis now joining us, taking a look at the tropics this evening. Hey, Travis.
Yeah, it's hyperactive right now in the Atlantic. We earlier today had 5 named storms spinning at the same time. The first time that's happened since 1971. The only other time in recorded history we've observed that. But Renee has fizzled out. We are left then with Vicky, which formed today, and Teddy, expected to become a hurricane. Category 2 Paulette is leaving Bermuda, and then there's Category 2 Sally. We also have 2 development zones we're watching. One of those is a wave coming off the coast of Africa. It has a 50% chance of development. The last name on the list this year is Wilfred. That's the most likely candidate to get it, and then we move on to the Greek alphabet. Then there's this little disturbance in the southwest Gulf. It's the same one we were tracking last week that wasn't expected to do much. It has about a 30% chance of a 20% chance rather of development. It's going to meander around the southwest Gulf the next several days, but it now looks like it will lift back northward toward the Texas coastline this weekend, early next week, and could send some more rain our way. Now let's talk about Sally. The winds today intensified rapidly from tropical storm to Category 2 intensity, but it developed farther off to the east. The center reformed, and that has pushed the trajectory to the east as well. So while New Orleans is still under a hurricane warning, it's looking a lot better right now for the Big Easy and much of Louisiana as well. We've had to extend, extend those hurricane warnings eastward into the Florida Panhandle. So tomorrow night making landfall near Category 3 intensity, and then a trough of low pressure that brings us rain on Thursday and Friday continues to slide it off to the northeast as a depression as it rolls its way near Atlanta, Georgia later in the week. Now it's going to be a significant rainmaker because of its slow movement. Now that yellow zone that you see from Biloxi to Mobile, 15 to 20 inches, but we've seen a huge change and a drop in the projections for New Orleans, with the path now off to the east looking at 1 to 3 inches of rain, and that might even be generous if that center does go as far east now as we think it will. Then you look at all that rain out in the Gulf over the next week. That's from that other disturbance I showed you in the southwest Gulf. It's 92 now, feels like 101. We've had a northerly breeze around the broad circulation of Sally, but so far it has not connected with drier air. That may not happen until Saturday. We get a little humidity break. We've had a few rain showers popping up this afternoon, and most of those will fizzle out as we head through the evening. We'll even a 10% chance of a shower through 10 o'clock tonight, and then we're looking at a mostly dry first half of the day on Tuesday. As we get into the afternoon, we're going to see a few more downpours pop up. 20% chance you get an isolated rain shower late in the day, while Sally is approaching the north central Gulf Coast as perhaps a Category 2 or 3 hurricane. Now jump ahead to next Monday. This is the weather map. A front stalled out near I-10. Look at all this moisture around that Bay of Campeche low, sending rain back into Texas. It's possible we could be dealing with some rain from that one as early as Sunday. So rain chances trickle back up to 40% for Thursday and Friday. The highs come back down towards 90. We catch a humidity break on Saturday, and then early next week we'll be watching for some of those thunderstorms from that tropical disturbance that sits to our south.
All right, Travis, thank you. Texans aren't about to panic on offense after one loss, and the Cougars have an unquestioned leader heading into a season opener that nobody saw coming. Next.
Now 13 Eyewitness News with Sports Director Greg Bailey.
One writer wants to know today what changes are coming for the Texans offense. Bill O'Brien replying flatly, it's only one game. Game 2, Baltimore, Sunday, NRG Stadium. Texans have to improve in a hurry against a Baltimore defense that ranked 3rd in the NFL last season. New receiver Brandon Cooks has already seen enough from Deshaun Watson to know if the Texans can protect number 4, everything can fall into place.
The same thing matches up with what I see on film. The guy plays fast. He's really decisive, and I mean, his competitive nature is out of this world. The guy never stops, and the play is never over, and so you got to respect that coming from your QB.
After COVID concerns canceled the scheduled opener at Memphis, the Cougars quickly pivot to a great opportunity. They're going to play Saturday against Baylor. Dana Holgorsen, despite the changes, calls this a normal game week. He's got a ton of confidence in quarterback Clayton Tune. For the first time at U of H, it's his offense and his team.
His familiarity with the offense and the receivers is better than it's ever been. I like what I see from a timing perspective out there. He's You know, he's running things well, and he's got the ear of the team, and he's got the respect of the team.
5A and 6A football kicking off in just a week and a half. Bob Slovak reports that North Shore's hopes for a third straight state title begin at quarterback with Demetrius Davis.
There's no resting on past accomplishments for North Shore quarterback Demetrius Davis. Sure, he could if he wanted to. Back-to-back 6A state titles, a 31-1 record as the Mustang starter. But there's no living in the past for the future Auburn Tiger.
Just keep leading my team, you know, just keep making sure everybody get better, you know, all the way to week 16.
He's got a demeanor about him. The kids respect him. And I think just the sheer experience to see a kid that's working the way he does, it's easy to make that argument to kids that are coming up that's how you get to be great.
The question, can North Shore make it a three-peat this season? Davis and the Mustangs working as if they're trying to win their first.
It's not much of just about the three-peat. It's more about just making us better, man, you know, after we graduate from North Shore, you know, stuff like that.
You're not getting a dog and pony show from him. Didn't miss a summer workout. He's here constantly working. When you got a kid like him around some of the younger kids that we're trying to develop, it's pretty special.
Davis will graduate from North Shore in December so he can head off to Auburn early.
Well, I think he headed to Auburn a little earlier than what we expected. Demetrius Davis, Alona, heading for a three-peat perhaps at North Shore. He is a special player.
He really is. You don't want to be late anyway, right, Greg?
You don't.
All right, we're going to be right back with a final look at your forecast.
All right, temperatures outside slowly coming down off those highs. It's still pretty warm and sticky outside. 87 in Houston, 90 in Galveston. Despite that north wind wrapping around Sally's broad circulation, it's not connecting with any drier air. We'll continue to keep an eye on that disturbance in the southwestern Gulf as well, as it could lift back towards us early next week. For now, though, mostly dry. Still a few rain showers on radar. Tomorrow, very similar. We're expecting a small chance of an afternoon downpour. Otherwise, it's another hot and sticky day with high temperatures into the mid-90s.
All right, Travis, thank you very much. And as we leave you tonight, we do want to take a live look. As you can see on the left side of your screen, that is Pensacola, Florida, where folks have been busy preparing for the hurricane all day long there. That surf is really kicking up this evening.
That's right. And we know it's been tough in Mississippi there. Governor already signing a state of emergency. Of course, our thoughts and prayers are with them as Sally rolls through. Have a great evening, friends.